Right, shall we catch up on this tax row? This is the clip from the debate where Rishi Sunak accused Labour of putting up people's tax bills.
Inflation is back to normal, wages are growing, taxes are now being cut. Keir Starmer would put all that progress at risk. He would put up everyone's taxes by £2,000. £2,000 in higher taxes for every working family in our country. After all the hard work and sacrifice we've been through, that's not the right course of action. I don't know why you want to put up people's taxes.
And this was the response from Rachel Reeves today, the woman wanting to be the next Chancellor.
Well, the letter from the Permanent Secretary of the Treasury confirms what Labour have said last night. The Prime Minister lied in the debate last night. Labour has no plans to increase taxes on working people. In fact, I have ruled out increases in income tax, national insurance and VAT for the duration of the next Parliament.
Well, to drill into the detail of this, and believe you me, I need someone, because as a journalist, I'm obviously functionally enumerate. I can't count. So we are counting on James Price, who's in the studio. He's a former Treasury Special Adviser and Director of Government Relations at the Adam Smith Institute. James, do the sums, do the math for us, please. Is there truth to the claim that Labour will put on £2,000 on people's tax bills?
So, you know, the old saying that there are lies, damn lies and statistics.
Yes.
You know, and numbers can be made not just to dance before our eyes on spreadsheets, but they can be made to do all kinds of magic and alchemy, especially in election campaigns. I think this is a row, on the politics first, this is a row that the Conservatives and the government will be very happy to have.
Yes.
Because it's got people focused on, well, just how much will Labour put my taxes up by? And it's slightly reminiscent of that £350 million a year going to the EU that we had back in the Brexit campaign.
But don't mention that, because the Remainers will start kind of, you know, getting very overexcited. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of like, in a way, if he's just landed, and I think he said it 11 times or 16 times in the debate, Labour will put £2,000 on your tax bill. Are that many people going to be drilling into the detail? They just take that away from the debate and they're done.
That's right. And £2,000 is an interest, again, just on the politics and just on the what they call the optics of this. It's a number that people can understand, right? It's quite a lot of money, right? It's probably what a lot of people take home in a month after all the taxes and all the rest of it. And when you start talking about millions of pounds, let alone billions of pounds, let alone trillions of pounds, which, by the way, the country owes in terms of the overall net debt, we can't understand what that means. Well, what does £1 trillion get you? How many aircraft carriers? But £2,000, people have got a pretty decent idea of what that feels like. Where am I going to find another £2,000 from? And if Labour say, well, it's not going to be that, well, right, where am I going to get another 1,500 quid from?
Also, he got an admission from Starmer, although they now are vehemently denying this and saying it's lies and putting out all sorts of social media posts sort of casting Rishi Sunak in the sin bin. They have said, and he did say in that debate, well, look, some taxes will go up under me. And he didn't deny the whole taxing of the pensions triple lock. Having said that, this is clever spin from the Conservatives, because let's be honest, where else is tax going to go? They keep on saying it's going to come down. Fraser Nelson on The Spectator has done his own number crunching. He's come up with the idea that actually the Tories will end up costing people $3,000 more if they get back into power for the next 4 to 5 years. I love this row between two people that seem to advocate high taxes anyway.
Right, and who ends up being the loser of high taxes? It's families, it's individuals, it's businesses. So here's, I think, the useful thing for viewers to have as a take-home. When you look at how much a tax rise or a tax cut brings in or costs, it doesn't cost the government stuff. It's just not as much money as they're getting in from, again, individuals and families and businesses. You look at the initial thing, OK, so I'm going to raise taxes by 100 quid. That means the government has another 100 quid to spend. But then that's £100 that isn't going to go on hiring somebody else, isn't going to go on investing in either a bridge or a new bit of road or something exciting like some bit of artificial intelligence or some cool robotics or whatever else. It's money that can't do those other things. And then that costs money down the line and it stops the economy from growing. And that is the kind of what we call an opportunity cost in there. And so that's the bit that never ever happens. You always talk about, well, I'm going to raise this much money. And so, one of the Labour potential tax rises is taking VAT and putting it on to private school fees or independent school fees. And that is, again, well, we're going to raise this much money. Well, not if all the private schools end up shutting down.
Yes.
And you've got to then go and send people off into the education system. And again, that point that we used to just before the break about Starmer saying he'd never use private healthcare. Well, that just means more money that's then going to have to be spent in the NHS for people who otherwise, if they could afford the private healthcare. Right? And this is the bit where people get messed up with all these
But
things.
also, I mean, we're looking forward to the manifestos, which I think are coming in about a week to 10 days' time. Great. And that word, it appeared on the Telegraph's debate bingo sheet. fully costed. Everything's fully costed. I mean, I'm trying to calculate, because I think the windfall tax seems to have been spent several times over by Labour making different pledges. But at the end of the day, if you're going to... It's the same for both sides, by the way. You know, we've got Rishi Sunak having pledged more money to defence. He's got to deal with the infected blood compensation. There's also a massive bill for the post office victims, possibly a potential Thames Water bailout. So, put all that to one side and ask yourself, well, how are you going to raise the money for that? And carry on with this kind of, what has been a historically big spending Tory government. And equally with Labour. I mean, where's the money coming from for Great British Energy and all the rest of it? It's got to come from the taxpayer. It's always the taxpayer, isn't it, James?
Right. Well, as the great lady once said, there's no such thing as government money. There's only taxpayers' money.
Indeed so.
Right?
I love that we've quoted the Iron Lady twice on one show.
Actually, that's quite a low number for me.
It's quite a low number for GBNews, I'd imagine. James, finally, who did you think, try and not be partisan, who do you think won that debate?
No, I mean, I think Sunak obviously won because he's across the detail and Starmer's just trying not to say anything. And I think the fundamental point is, will Starmer put up people's taxes? Yeah, of course he will. Right?
Yes,
and
but then can people be confident that the Tories won't either?
No,
I mean, taxes have gone up, spending has gone up, and immigration has gone up under the Tories.
So the last part I said, that this idea of a static model versus a dynamic model, it's not just about the tax rise, but what else you do in the economy. Can we get growth going again? Can we get more businesses investing here? Can we get all these other wonderful things that capitalism brings to the economy going? Or are we going to be just cutting up the pie in different ways?
Yes.
That's the question. Which party will create more prosperity and more growth? That's what will actually help us out of these problems.
James Price, thank you very much indeed. And I think you're joining me on my Sunday show, so I look forward to seeing you then
Cannot wait.
reviewing the papers.